Hello, this is Mario from Audion. In this video, we will talk about the Soundscape app, which is available in Audition's Auditorium and Combined. The Soundscape app is a standalone app generated by Audion used to listen to and compare auralizations in your room. You can switch between input signals, receiver positions, and even material setups. The app runs online or offline on a web browser, meaning the user doesn't need to have Audion installed to use it. This makes it easy to share auralizations with your clients. The Soundscape app will contain all convolutions and mixes from your model. So, the first step is to set up your auralizations. This is explained in more detail in our tutorial on producing auralizations. As previously mentioned, you can also switch between material setups. To do this, you should save your different material setups in the material list archive. You can do this in the material list. Material setups are saved automatically when you close the material list window. But there's an easier way if you want to make several material lists consecutively. First, we would recommend you to change this description. This is the name under which the material setup will be saved. Then, click on this Save icon. Immediately after, you can change some of the materials. Then, change the description again and save. Remember that if you want to remove surfaces, you can assign this transparent material. An example would be to compare cases with and without reflectors. When you have saved all versions of your material setup, you can view them in the material list archive. Your currently active material setup will not be listed, but instead it will be shown in the title bar. The list down here are your alternative material setups that you can switch to. You may have some saved material setups from changing materials previously. When generating the Soundscape app, the calculations will be repeated for each individual material setup. So, you may want to delete unneeded material setups. You can delete each one by selecting it and clicking the Delete button. Before you generate the files, you may want to decide on the format of the audio files. By default, Audion will produce WAV files, which are high quality but take up a lot of storage space. You can choose to export compressed files instead by going to Options, Program Setup, Auralization, and then Compress Audio at the bottom. You can select any of these bit rates, and Audion will produce MP4 audio files. If you leave it at none, Audion will produce WAV files. Now, to generate the Soundscape app, go to the job list or the auralizations list and click on this icon. First, you select the folder where the files will be generated. Keep in mind that Audion will create a subfolder for all the files. As previously mentioned, Audion will calculate all convolutions and all mixes with all material setups, so the calculation may take a while. If you wish to first run a test, you can just lower the number of late trays in the room setup. When the calculation is done, the app will open in your default internet browser. You will see some information at the top, such as the model name and the maximum output level. You can change the materials, receiver, sources, and signals even while the audio is running, which allows you to compare the acoustics for different cases. The picture shown at the bottom is a 3D render screenshot from the receiver's perspective. We will listen to binaural oralizations, so make sure to listen with headphones. I will click on this play button. If you had mixes in your model, you will only be able to listen to your mixes at first. We will show how to access your convolutions a bit later. The Soundscape menu will list all of your mixes. The first number is the mix number. The Signal Source menu will show the different combinations of input signals and sources used for your mixes. Meaning, if you calculated the same ensemble at different receiver positions, the ensemble will show in the list just once. For example, even though we had 6 mixes in this model, they were 3 ensembles each calculated at 2 receiver positions. So, this menu shows 3 options. The first number is the number of input signals, and the description is a summary of the input signals used. This allows you to change the ensemble or the receiver without changing the other. If you select a mix, it will automatically change to the corresponding signals, sources, and receiver. By default, when you change to a different set of signals and sources, it will play from the beginning. But if you want the ensembles to run parallel and switch between them, you can disable this checkbox. To switch to convolutions, click on this drop-down menu at the top and select Convolutions. The Signal Source menu will now show individual combinations of a signal and a source, where the S at the end specifies the source number. And the Soundscape menu will now show individual convolutions. Just like with mixes, the first number is the convolution number. In the Signal Source menu, you may see some options in red. This means that the signal source combination was not calculated for the currently selected receiver. For example, here, the plates and cutlery sound effect was not calculated at receiver 1, and so the convolution doesn't exist. If you select a red option, the receiver will be changed to one that's available for the selected signal source combination. This will also stop currently playing audio. Conversely, red options in the receiver menu means that the currently selected signal source combination was not calculated at that receiver point. And if selected, the signal source combination will be changed to one that's available for the selected receiver. If you also calculated a surround or beamform materialization, you can change it in this drop-down menu. If you wish to calculate only convolutions or only mixes for the Soundscape app, you can also change that in the program setup, next to where you selected compression bit rates. There are a couple of ways to share your Soundscape app. If you go to the folder you selected earlier, you will see a subfolder ending in exports. Inside this folder, there are an additional 2 subfolders and a couple of HTML files. The subfolders contain code libraries, as well as your model's audio files and screenshots, and they need to be in the same folder as the HTML files. To run the Soundscape app in your default internet browser, you open one of the HTML files, depending on whether you want to play mixes or convolutions. However, since you have all the files locally, this does not require an internet connection, even though it runs in your browser. If you share the full folder containing all these files, anyone else can open and use the Soundscape app, even if they don't have Audyon installed or don't own an Audyon license. If you own a website, you can also upload the files to your domain and share the link to one of the HTML files. Remember that within the app, you can change between mixes and convolutions. On our website, we have some examples that we have uploaded this way. Go to audyon.dk, Examples, Soundscape app examples. In the URL bar, you can see that this is the direct link to the HTML file, and the assets are being loaded from the subfolders. By sharing the link to the HTML, the recipient can listen to the Soundscape app, not only on a PC, but also on a tablet or smartphone. With that, we conclude this tutorial, and we hope you have found it useful. Good luck!